To have you back on, my friend. Wow, the budget. I want to read something. I'm going through this because I read it when I started the interview just now with Baratarias and one MP, Saddam Hussein. This was rushing in 2024, when the Prime Minister says hopeful signs for 2024. In welcome in 2024, Prime Minister Rowley said that he's pleased that the government can state that it greets the new year with a renewed sense of optimism. He mentioned the strengthening of TNT's energy base, enhancing the nation's infrastructure, improving the conditions for investment, and continue attempts to improve and make the daily lives of citizens safer. That's what he said. 2024. Yesterday we heard a budget. We of course, 5 hours and almost 15 minutes, Mr. Alexander. And what was your takeaway?
Mikey, the reality of what took place yesterday is that Colm Imbert admitted to the public that he is hopelessly lost. They have no plan. This is what I have been asking. What is the plan? Where is the plan that you got this budget from? Nobody is telling us that. Nobody is saying to us that this budget will take us to this place or that. You read something that sounded like they had a plan before, but now they are totally lost. Coming out of COVID, and I don't want people to forget the trauma that COVID was to this country. Economically, we've not recovered. I am in the real estate development business. And to say that real estate developers took a hit is an understatement. The price of everything went through the roof and the market went soft. The bottom came out from the market. And it happened because a government was willing to capitulate to overseas interests at the expense of their citizens. The average citizen in Trinidad and Tobago has been hit by blow after blow after blow where their own personal finances are concerned. And people are struggling. We've gone from having a middle class to a struggling working poor. That is the reality. The banks and the government seem to be working in tandem to take away people's equity. And we have to have these conversations. Because if you don't change the people that are responsible for this state of affairs, we are going to end up in a totally different version of Trinidad, not a democracy, not a republic. This is going to become a communist state. That's where they're taking us.
Yeah, but Phillip, let me interject here. Phillip, what we heard yesterday, so you don't have the money to lay out election bills. You don't have the money for the pixie dust. But my gosh, there should have been some programs in there to bring a sense of relief to the people of this country, and especially the underlining part here with the crime situation. You can't come and tell us after all of this, almost a decade, that you're talking about rolling out 2,000 police vehicles over the next 3 years and 500 in the first phase. I don't think vehicles are the issue here. Is there a lack of will that your officers are not doing their job? Is it the management of the TTPS? Is it the National Security Ministry? What is the issue here? Because you're getting a good chunk of the budget, all right? You're getting a big chunk. One would think that you would have at least addressed that issue. We heard nothing much about that or anything at all. And many other things that were just, skimmed across the surface. You don't have the money. You're making promises. What's going to be the end result?
No, but you said something there that made the point I was trying to make earlier when you said no relief. And that's my point. They don't want to give you relief. I remember when Faris Al-Rawi was the Attorney General and he let slip that the government pays, not that it costs, because I interviewed the head of the Prison Officers Association and the head of the prisons together. And we still have that video of them saying that when Faris made this figure public, that it cost the government $25,000 to house each prisoner. They both said the prison don't see that money. Those are the two people that said when Justice on Time started, it came like a thief in the night because they were transporting prisoners. It was never a $1 billion business when the government, when the state was doing it. So when you talk about crime, crime is big business in Trinidad, not to the criminals. The government needs, the state needs criminals going in Starlight Drugs, Marble, and taking somebody's car. Because then they'll say, oh God, do anything, do anything. So for $25–30 million in crime for the year, we spend $25–30 billion chasing it. And that is not spending it on effective measures. That is direct looting the treasury and putting it into the pockets of people masquerading as providers of goods and services. They have no interest in stopping crime when crime is so lucrative to their finances. You have to look at it from that perspective.
Yeah, but all right, let's look at it from that perspective. Then are you saying that we are just sitting ducks to a system that is only engineered or accommodating people who are definitely there for a dollar for themselves, their friends, their family, their finances?
Only that.
That's it.
Only that.
So a bunch of individuals who believe it's their God-given right to get whatever is there, everything, and the rest of us get nothing and suffer.
This is a crime scene. Trinidad's government is a crime scene. When I hear people in national security and former commissioners of police talk about the criminals and the cockroaches and the people at the ground level, I laugh. The real crime taking place in Trinidad and Tobago are written across government checks. The roads are how the roads are so that people could make billions repairing roads. The water situation is how it is. I am the one who showed Trinidadians. We live on an island that broke off of a rainforest. If Trinidadians disappeared tomorrow, in about 6 months, there are vines that grow in this country that you can literally watch them grow. In about 6 months, Trinidad is a rainforest again. We have so much rain. Our climate is so wet. Diego Martin is so wet. Diego Martin alone gets enough rain for the year to provide water to all of Trinidad. And I ask, why did we design our water system to capture the water and throw it in the sea? And the only answer to that is so that people could make money from people's thirst, from people's desperation. Desperation for crime, desperation for roads, desperation, education. Education is now the biggest cow they're milking. When I was a little boy in school, my whole family passed 2 books to everybody. West Indian Reader and Student Companion. Now, every year, parents have to spend thousands of dollars buying a slightly different version of the same book they buy for the last child the year before. They are pummeling Trinidadians. They are beating us. This government is a tool of a secret society, 1% elitist group that are here. I get videos and pictures of, listen, I tell people all the time, when I talk about the 1%, I talk about my family too. And I get videos of them sharing how they jet setting and flying the helicopters and landing on these fancy buildings in New York City and Dubai. And they're living that life, and they're living that life at the expense of Tanti selling dynamite under a flyover in Chaguanas and being taxed mercilessly. And I'm trying to get the average Trinidadian to understand, especially people of color.
Yeah, but Phillip, let me interject here. You see, there has to be some level of equilibrium here. The balance has to be set somewhere. Because let me tell you something. As Stalin put it, sufferers really don't care about color. And sufferers don't want to live where the 1% or the elite live. They don't want to drive what they're driving. They don't want to vacation where they're vacationing. They don't want to shop where they're shopping. But they want to survive. They want to believe. And here's where we're at right now. They want to believe that there's a bunch of people that they can go to the polls to, state their finger, and at the end of the day, the trade-off is these people are going to have their cabinet, they're going to have their cabinet meetings, and in it they're going to say, listen, how do we put money in the hands of the citizens? How do we get them to start saving again so they can get that extra money? Those people who have been wiped out, there was a 2-car vehicle. How do we help them? They want to send their children abroad to study, or even do it here, right here, locally. You are telling me that none of those things are made a priority when a government sits down in cabinet to make decisions. None of it has to do with prioritizing the interests of the people who they are placed there to serve.
Mikey, it's a mindset. When I use the word pummeling and I was hitting my fist into my hand to make the sound, it's a mindset. This is what the colonial masters did. Master used to feed you just enough so you could work in the fields. No more. You're not supposed to get fat. You're not supposed to have a bank account. You're not supposed to have a big house. You're not supposed to be contemplating things like vacation. You are a laborer and you are consuming just enough so that you could continue to feed the money machine that they live off of. And this is when you look at the government budget and what they focused on, they have absolutely zero interest in Trinidadians and their quality of life. Any government that comes to office now that wants Trinidadians to have a good quality of life would focus on agriculture, food production, food processing, generating jobs, creating jobs. Jobs is job one. I told people before, every ambassador, every high commissioner, their job used to be to communicate with world leaders, between world leaders, and the two ambassadors would talk, and that's how communication took place long ago. Now, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago could pick up his cell phone and send a WhatsApp to the Premier of Russia or the President of the United States. So you don't need high commissioners and ambassadors again. So you're still paying them. If we're still spending those hundreds of millions of dollars feeding and supporting that lifestyle, then give them a job. Their job should be to bring jobs and investments to Trinidad and take Trinidad exports to the world. And if they're not doing that, what is the point of them? And it's all those little things that people not paying attention to, and that's the problem, because when we top down, we all looking at Trinidad only from our perspective. And the day we start looking at Trinidad as a nation that we own, that we are part of, that we have a share in, that is supposed to make certain things available to us and our children, Colm was right. When Colm said he raised gas 3 times a day at riots, he knew he was talking about a people so subjugated that they didn't even know that they had a right to riot against the man. That's what he was saying. Who told the country when Kamala Persad-Bissessar was the Prime Minister and she contemplated touching the subsidy. He said, you are stealing people's money because this is paid for by the oil producers. And all of a sudden, he became the Minister of Finance, and that whole story turned on its head 180 degrees. But that's the government that you have. They will lie to you and tell you what they need to get into your head to convince you to let them get away with economic, political, legislative murder. They are killing this country. Trinidad was in oil when nobody else knew what oil was. We were one of the first in the world. How could we only have $6 million US in the Heritage Fund? Norway, that got oil 60 years after us, have so much money in their Heritage Fund that they affect the cost and the price of every stock and every share traded in the world. And they've set aside $250,000 US to every citizen as you retire, as you're done, there's your money. I'm not giving you $3,000 a month. Look, $250,000. Go and like yourself anywhere in the world. You're a shareholder in the country. You've contributed. Go and like yourself. We treat our people like dogs. And this PNM is the worst assault on decency we have ever seen. And that budget yesterday, I said he should have named it steadfastly heading to disaster, because that's where we're going.
And when you look at it, basically what is being told to us is, listen, and here again is the hypocrisy in all of this. Now, your friends and financiers are not being told that they have to wait until 2027, when hopefully there's going to be some gas revenue. Okay? At the same time that we are told to tighten our belts and we have to hold on and we have to wait and for something to happen until 2027, there's still going to be policies at the Port Authority that are going to be manipulated so their goods can pass through. There are still going to be taxes and concessions waived so they can benefit. They don't have to wait for anything. How come when it comes to the suffering, how come when it comes to waiting, how come when it comes to holding on and bearing the brunt of all of this, it has to fall on the shoulders of the average citizen? How come?
Because the average citizen lets them. When I was outside the Red House when it was yesterday for the community budget, when I was outside the Red House and I watch all these people, I think about these are patriots, these are citizens, they get it, and I'm looking around for the 100,000. You see, it's not to riot. You don't need to burn up. You don't need to pelt no stone. You don't need to clench your fist. We don't want to chant Rowley must go ahead. All we need is 100,000 people show up there and say, listen, you're working for we. Every seat in the parliament belongs to groups of 30,000 people divided as constituencies. We come to see that you're doing our business. We don't want no property tax. Undo that. We don't want no cashless society. Stop that nonsense. You're digitizing the economy and signing contracts with India to take us down a path we don't want to go. You consulted no one. You're talking about you have 3 buyers of Petrotrin. How Petrotrin become yours to sell? How it became yours to shut down? The average person in Trinidad and Tobago does not understand the role of a citizen. And the day we could fix that, Mikey, and I don't know what magic it will take. I don't know what we have to do to get people to understand Christ. I have to take care of my family, and then I have to take care of my community, and then I have to take care of my country. That is the role of a citizen. Your daddy, your mommy, take care of your children, take care of your neighbors, take care of your country. Because if we did that, our country would be strong. Trinidad had $3 trillion. I want to say that number. I don't think they understand that that's $3,000 billion. That's 22,000 years of money we squander. That if we had invested, just put it in Chase Manhattan Bank and say give us 5% interest, it would be $50 trillion today. We would have more money than God. We had more money than Dubai. We were the 3rd wealthiest nation in the Western world. Brazil, Argentina, Chile, any country you name. We had more money than them. Guyana would be playing catch up right now with their money because we don't have so much money that our money would be growing. Once you cross the interest principal barrier and your money just making money on money, well, that's exponential growth. We don't understand what we had. You know what we have? We have the only pitch lake in the world. When I tell you it's the largest. Nonsense talk. It is the only one that is economically profitable to mine. You understand that? Talk to them from that perspective. It is so economically profitable to mine that China wants to control it. If China wants it, why we don't want it? If China could make it make money, why we not making it make money? We selling pitch to the world. Where's the accounts? That should have been the first item read on the accounts. It was the first business that was set up in Trinidad selling pitch. Where's the accounts for the pitch league? We don't know nothing.
No,
and we don't get nothing. We don't get the knowledge because we don't ask or we don't demand or we don't come outside and stand up. I told somebody yesterday, say in France, you change a law without consulting the people, they come in for you. They come in for you. And that's how it is. People don't understand the nonsense of this cashless society. And we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and I keep saying all the time, everybody else who drunk and running woman and need to be in cricket and party every night, I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to the parents. To the parents outside. Look at your children. You're going to die one day. What do you want to leave for them? Sufferation or a proper functioning country? When you look at the 2 leaders, Kid Rowley and Kamala Prasad, Kid Rowley is pure sufferation and misery. That man is hate. You can see the hate in his face for himself and everybody. He don't like nobody. Calm him, but it's like a crypt keeper. When you hear that man talk, what comes out of his mouth hurts your decency. How did we end up with a bodybuilding Barbie doll, Faris Al-Rawi? How did we end up with an economic kulumunu like Stuart Young, or a complete idiot like Fitzgerald Hines as head of national security? Look at your government. I'm not making this up. Laurel Lizama says I get Trolley said she beat up my husband. Look at your country. Look at who is leading you. Where you think you're going to go if that's your leader.